Hello everyone. The purpose of my speech today is to share some of my ideas on how to make people to fall in love with paying taxes. So basically, if you look at the three words, people love taxes, right? A dream for tax inspector or finance minister, right? But usually a nightmare for a taxpayer, right? So not an easy task, not an easy question, definitely. Especially given that most people actually hate paying taxes, right? So now I just give you a little bit of hope, saying that, okay, they hate paying taxes, but from hatred to love, there is only one step. So the aim of today's presentation is to find this step, and particularly it's important to find it because it's worth 3 trillion or 3 million millions euro or 3 million Lithuanians, like like million here, million there, you know. But basically, that's how much taxes are not paid globally during just 1 year, right? So this question is very important, and the person who would solve it, right, in just one step would be very, very successful and very happy, right? So first of all, I would like to review some conventional methods, right, on how this problem have been, how we solve this problem, how they have tried to solve this problem. So basically, from converting people from hating paying taxes to loving to paying taxes, you can use some of the tools, right? So one is you can use force, right? That's one of the most common methods, and is still the most common method. If you don't like paying taxes, then we force you to pay them. The second thing is to convince, right? So there's this saying, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me; fool me 3, 4, 5 times, okay, I got it, right? So I'm convinced, right? So basically the second is convince. The third one is to punish. The fourth one is to shame someone who doesn't pay taxes. Or can you be supervise, like looking, okay, so not paying taxes. But all these traditional or conventional methods have some side effects, or as they call externalities, right? So first thing is there are some companies or some people that appear too big to tax, right? You know this, too big to fail, too big to save, too big to jail, too big to tax. Some appear, oh, I'm too small to tax, you know, I'm too whatever to tax, okay? So there are many, many exceptions. Then you have on top of this corruption, you have a high cost of forcing, convincing people to pay taxes, and you also have incompetence, right? So those traditional methods or conventional methods usually not work, or they don't work as they should work, right? So this question might seem as alchemy, right? To convert some liquid, however yellow sometimes, to gold, right? Which was being tried for many, many centuries, and still haven't succeeded until now, yeah? Because there appeared that gold is just a separate element. So if you have haters of taxes, lovers of taxes, they can never convert to each other, right? But I have quite good news for you. I have some idea on how this problem can be solved. So you can think yourself for some couple of seconds, and now I will reveal you some of the answers. So you need to think out of box, right? So that's the purpose, basically, of my idea. So you have people, the bunch of people who hate paying taxes, right? And you need to convert them to those that love paying taxes, right? Very difficult task. But what can you do is to apply methods that are being applied in finance, right? I'm a finance guy, as you can see from my outfit, right? So we apply these methods in finance to convert some very nasty products to some very good-looking products, yeah, and sell to the customers. So exactly the same thing could be applied here. So you take people that hate taxes, add something that people like, right? For example, people like gambling, right? Most people like gambling, even though they know that they will definitely lose, right, in the long term. And you put it together, and then it converts into something that people like, right? So you take something that people don't like, so you hate paying taxes, but you add on top of this something that people like. So from like tax receipt, you add a lottery to it, right? When you go to the shop, you receive tax receipt. If it would be a lottery, then you would demand this receipt in the shop, right? Because now when they say, oh, please raise your receipt, leave it, you know, I don't need it. But if it would be a lottery ticket, then you would say, oh, yes, give it to me because I might become a millionaire. So everyone would start demanding those receipts, right? But which effectively means that everyone would be would start demanding paying taxes, right? So everyone would start loving paying taxes. So this is maybe a similar example if it's more down to earth. When you go to the shop, to buy some Polish apples, right, to supermarket, then you don't want to buy them. You might maybe prefer to buy some local apples from a local grocery, but they add you some angry birds, right? However angry they might be, they add you some angry birds, and then they make this very nice joint product to you, and then you go to the shop and buy as many apples as you get these angry birds, however angry they might be. Yeah, so this is one example, and this is called tax lottery. Some countries already apply it. First example is Taiwan. They have it since 1951 with a very, very good success, because people are really started to demand receipts and to pay taxes. Now, just last year, Slovakia introduced this system, and in the beginning of this year, just 1 month ago actually, very recent information, Portugal introduced this tax. I also suggested myself to our government introducing this idea, because Lithuania has this problem of not paying taxes. And I myself experienced it when I was in Georgia 2 years ago. People actually even harassed me almost by saying, oh, please take receipt. They were like chasing me, you know, the 100, 200 meters, so all. But this suggests that I would take a receipt, because it might get a very it might be that I'm losing a chance to become a millionaire, right? So this is one of a good example how you can put something that people like with something that people don't like, and end up with something that people like. And especially in Lithuania, this problem of not paying taxes is very acute. So Lithuanians don't pay almost 1/3 of the taxes. So this system would be very successful. And if you ask why people like lotteries, so there are basically two things. First is optimism bias. Everyone has it, right? If you ask, are you better than average driver or worse than average? Around 80 to 90% says that I'm better than average driver, right? So this is the same thing. If you buy lottery, I have more chances of winning. Everyone thinks that. And the second thing is neglect of probability. So people really don't realize how small the chance is to win a lottery. They think that the chance is, say, 0.1%, when in fact it's 0.0001%, right? So those two things really motivates people to engage in lotteries. The second thing is loss aversion. So people don't like losses, don't like losing, and they don't like losing an opportunity, right? So if you don't take a receipt, then you might have lost opportunity to become a millionaire. So everyone would be very, very eager to ask for a receipt and to get this opportunity. And the best thing of this system is that it turns customers into tax inspectors, right? So each customer that comes to a shop demands a receipt, and in this sense, it becomes a tax inspector. So once you have this lottery, each customer becomes a tax inspector. So that explains why this is not so popular in the world, right? Because then what to do for tax inspector then, yeah? So basically there's a competition. The customers are competing with tax inspectors. Okay, so they have some negative things. They might be accused that, oh, they promote gambling, they promote wasteful consumption, but Angry Birds also promote wasteful consumption, yeah, because you buy a product just because you want as many of these birds as you can. Another example of this engineering is with property taxes, right? So usually people hate paying property taxes, right? When you have some property, okay, I have it, I don't want to pay taxes, right? But then what people hate even more, right, you can add, people hate selling your own property at low price even more than hating to pay taxes, right? So if you add those together, right, and you ask people to declare the value of your property voluntarily, right? So let's say what's the value of your property. Say, oh, I don't want to pay taxes, maybe it's 10 euros, right? Something like 100 euros. Then, okay, you don't pay taxes, but then there's obligation to sell to others your property at this price, right? So then it would be crazy to say that my property is worth only 100 euros. You say that my property is worth million euros, right? So that no one would be willing to buy my property, right? So in this case, you basically, to put it this long story short, instead of usually bribing or convincing tax inspector, you have to convince all the prospective buyers of your property. So then, which is basically almost impossible. So basically, you tend to say the value of your property as high as you can. So this is example how also this could be done to get rid of those old and unused properties. And the most novel, I would say, and the thing I like the most is traffic fines, right? So people usually hate paying traffic fines, right? Some exceed speed, some don't behave as they should. And then there's a problem how to basically make these drivers to behave as they should. But you should add something that people like. So what people like? They like punish others for not paying fines. Yeah, I like it very much actually. So if you see me driving, be very careful. Okay, drive very slow. And then if you add those, if you allow other people to punish others for not behaving, for violating the rules, then you have result which is people love making each other paying fines. Yeah. So if you're a policeman, you don't even have to do anything, right? You can be very relaxed sitting and the fines are just flowing to you, right? So that's what is already happening in some countries, and that's the future. That's what will happen, because many cars now have the cameras installed, and they can record all these misbehaviors and send it to police. So the task of the police is just to collect those taxes and administer them. So they don't have to chase these people. And then again, the amount of corruption is much lower in this case, because not only you don't know whom to bribe, but usually you don't have any opportunity to do it, right? So if you start thinking about these possibilities that our technology allows, and if you apply principles that are used in finance to the tax collection, then you can see that those 3 million is really a big potential, and that it could be very much reduced. So the only thing you need is courage. And just to come back, why people are good policemen, right? So people are intrinsically, they like fairness, right? So they like to being treated fair. So if I'm punished, why not this guy is punished, right? And they have a pleasure of punishment, right? So that's human nature. they like to punish if they think that other person is behaving unfair. So these two things are just enough to ensure that the system works, right? So you don't need these conventional methods like force, convention. You just can use this unconventional things. And I would like to show you for the end the experiment which was done with monkeys about fairness, in which one monkey received a cucumber and the other received cucumber, and when they received both cucumbers, that was all okay. But when one monkey received grape, which is like a little bit advanced compared to cucumber, then see what happened, how much angriness it evoked. So we can see this.
Getting grape, and you will see what happens. So she gives a rock to us, that's the task. And we give her a piece of cucumber and she eats it. The other one needs to give a rock to us. And that's what she does. And she gets a grape. And she eats it. The other one sees that. She gives a rock to us now, gets again cucumber. She tests the rock now against the wall. She needs to give it to us. And she gets cucumber again.
Yeah, so you can, okay, thank you. So you can see what's a huge potential energy, right, is within our societies, right? So you see, okay. So sorry for comparing with monkeys, but still, I mean, if you believe in evolution, then we are somewhere not so very far from them. So you can imagine how these people with what passion would be willing to pay either taxes themselves, make other people pay taxes, just if the system would be constructed in such a way that each of us would motivate each other to pay taxes, right? So this I think it will be a future of many countries, of many tax systems. And just to finish my talk, I would like to compare this picture. You can see very long queue, tax avoidance advice. So if the topic of today is snooze or choose, so I would suggest to choose to make changes. Thank you.